Hello, hello, everyone.
Hello.
Well, welcome to the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. I'm actually still on my phone trying to take care of, I'm trying to retweet, I gotta share, I gotta do everything, obviously. Never is enough time for us to go out there and do that. But we want to welcome you again to the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. We hope you guys had a wonderful holiday, no matter what you celebrate. If you currently are celebrating, I know Kwanzaa is going on right now. Just a great time right now with friends, family, hopefully taking some time off of work. So we just hope everyone's having a good time. This is our last show of 2022. Katie, how crazy is that?
It's super crazy. I do feel like 2022 was a little long, ready for the new year, but it's crazy when we look at it in the aspect of where we are. Not Housewives, because Housewives is just year round, but definitely in the world of football and heading into week 17 of the NFL season. It's crazy.
I can't believe it, obviously, but we are here and we are giving you football. We are giving you Housewives as we do week over week. And we're ending a year, but we'll be right back with you next week in 2023. So don't worry for that. So let's go ahead and get started. We asked you guys 3 poll results across our social media platforms. And again, you guys delivered. We got so many votes this week. So thank you guys, as always, for participating. So the first question: are the Denver Broncos the worst team in the NFL this season? 54% of you said no. Katie, what are you thinking about the Broncos right now?
I could have made this my get it off my chest, but I feel as though the Denver Broncos have been a few of my get it off my chest this NFL season. So this past weekend and seeing what happened with the Denver Broncos, that was the nail in the coffin for me. I'm officially deeming this team the worst team, this season in the NFL. And it's not just because of not based on, oh, these were the expectations for them and this is where they fell. Obviously that's really bad. But now at this point, I just genuinely feel like they are the worst team. And I look at a team like Houston, they've got 2 wins now. And I just feel like they're playing better, more competitive football than this Denver Broncos team. And there's obviously others at the bottom of the barrel here, but I just feel like Denver could not put a game together. Offensively, they're absolutely terrible. The defense is supposed to be the bright point for them, but that hasn't really been showing up either. This is just a horrible, horrible team. I can't even fathom. I think they've got 4 wins now. I can't even fathom that they won 4 times this season. They are officially the worst team of the 2022 NFL season.
All right, well, I'm going to go with our majority here, and I'm not going to call them the
majority,
worst.
Slight majority,
the 4% majority, the slight up. No. So I don't know. I think you have very good points. I still think though, very much I am looking at records. I am going to look at that. I am going to look at the Texans with only 2 wins. And then, even with this poor turn of events for a team like the Colts, they haven't been able to make a play recently, and they haven't. I think I'll deem the Broncos a little bit worse, but there are some other teams up there for contention in this kind of worst category. And I think, I'm not going to put them as the worst yet because it is a shame that you paid a lot of money for Russell Wilson. You have Russell Wilson. You have other playmakers on the team. And then you look and you watch them and you almost kind of want to take them all and shake them and be like, what are you doing? So
this is not what you're supposed to look like.
It's not, I didn't dream big for them this season, but I also didn't dream of this for this season. So, but I'm still going to bump it over probably to the Texans still being the worst team this year. All right. Second question. Should Minnesota's wide receiver Justin Jefferson be named MVP this season? 61% of you said no.
I also went with no. Justin Jefferson is, on pace to have the potential to surpass the single season receiving yards record, which obviously would be huge. But I'm going to actually say one of our viewers, one of our, followers on Instagram had brought up a really, really good point of saying if Cooper Kupp didn't win MVP last year, leading in all three major receiving categories, if he's not going to get it, I don't feel like, even if Justin Jefferson gets that record, I just don't feel like it should be him. I do feel like this is Patrick Mahomes' MVP title to win. I do believe it'll go to him.
I think that is a great point of one of our followers bringing that up, because I think I was big on Cooper Kupp last year, potentially winning it. I even mentioned it a couple of episodes ago that I thought maybe Tyreek Hill could be in the running for this. So, and again, Justin Jefferson, monster numbers this year, doing a great job, but you're absolutely correct. If a guy like Cooper Kupp couldn't do it with what he had, you even look at some defensive players that have been in the running, they're not doing that. And they won't get it. It's you're going to push back to the quarterback, and I'll give it to Patrick Mahomes as well. We're in the same kind of boat for that.
Yeah.
All right, and some rumors swirling in the Housewives world that Brandi Glanville could potentially return to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills for, I think this would be her third time returning at this point. Oh, sorry. She started and then she returned, and this would be her second time returning, excuse me. So would you want to see this? This was a big majority here, 83% of you, and we tapped a good audience on Twitter on this one. I think we tapped the Beverly Hills audience here. A lot of people, 83% of you said no.
I said yes, but honestly, I'm on the fence either way about this one. We are bringing it up as a poll question because actually over the holidays, Brandi posted, I think it was something to her Instagram. It was her hand holding a diamond, and it was I forget what the caption was, but oh, this is a great gift or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's why the rumor mill is swirling that maybe she's hinting that she's coming back. You know what? I said yes, so I'll make the argument for yes. Clearly, she gets a reaction out of people. 83% of you guys said no. Sometimes you do need the person that you don't have to like them. You could absolutely hate them. I'm thinking of someone like a Danielle Staub on New Jersey. Yes, we all hate her. We all think she's the worst. But having her on the show, you can't deny the fact that she does make for good television. She causes a lot of controversy. She gets the women all up in airs. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go with yes on this.
So I went with no. I do not like Brandi. I haven't liked her since the first time she was on. This is probably stemming. She was on Ultimate Girls Trip, the one at Dorinda's house in the Berkshires. So I didn't really like her on that. I saw 2 or 3 episodes of that, and I just I don't know. And her latest stint on Beverly Hills, she had all that drama with Denise Richards and all the other, and I don't know. But you're right. She does get a reaction out of people, Katie. So if we're really looking for this drama-filled Housewives, I understand why you said yes and some other people did, but I just can't stand her. And I think Beverly Hills is actually making some smart decisions and moving in a different direction.
Yeah.
Don't kind of spoil it by bringing her back. So that's all I got to say about that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But as always, thank you guys for voting in our polls. We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. For some reason, the Twitter is acting very weird. Apparently, you guys can... I know. I hate when the Twitter does this. I just can't see notifications, but I see that people are watching.
Okay.
So that's a good thing, but I can't get your notifications. So if you're commenting, I can't see that. But you can always head over to YouTube, and we will see those comments, and we'll talk to you there. So, yeah. But...
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's get into it. Let's get into the big stories of the week in the world of football. We have NFL quick hot topics for you. So this is a big one. This is, looking ahead to the off season. Yesterday, Arizona defensive end J.J. Watt announced that he will retire at the end of the season. This last game, this past weekend, we're just learning about this now. We didn't even hear any rumors, kind of just, it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
So this weekend, actually, in the game in Arizona, that's technically his last home game that he just played. So JJ was a first round pick in 2011. He had and still producing, by the way, 9.5 sacks, 14 tackles for a loss, and 33 total tackles through 14 games this season. The 33-year-old was a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Only 2 other players have accomplished that in their careers. A 4-time All-Pro and led the league in sacks twice. He's also a 5-time Pro Bowler. Although it caught me off guard and I didn't expect it, I do like this decision for JJ Watt. Right. I think he's got a bright future outside of football. I think it'll probably still be connected to football in some kind of way. But I just think this is best for him because he's just been, it feels like every year he battles the injury bug. And, you know, he's rehabbed so many serious injuries. He's 33 years old. He's definitely made a ton of money. He can continue to make a ton of money while trying to keep his health off the field. I like this move for JJ, and he had a hell of a career.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to him. Cheers to a phenomenal career, a household name to where everyone followed what he was doing. There's so many iconic pictures, videos of him that came out after he announced he was retiring that you always see them. You see them on the internet. You see them everywhere. I know the most infamous one is when he had that bloody face in Houston. He kept playing because he is a beast and he is a machine. It was really a thrill to watch him over these past years during his career. But as you said, that injury bug lingered pretty much so with him. So I think you're right. He's making a smart decision. Definitely I think the more so surprising factor was we heard about it after his last home game, but I think that's pretty JJ Watt fashion, not trying to make a big deal
about himself. Yeah.
Not making it about himself. He's going to go into that game. Him and his family know he made that decision, and then he comes out and says it. So props to him. Hell of a career. And definitely first round Hall of Fame.
Yes. And we will continue to see him on the TV screens. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
On Monday, we have a head coach firing. So on Monday, Denver fired Nathaniel Hackett during his first season as head coach after going 4-11. So more salt on the wound for this Denver Broncos team. But no surprise, he was definitely a guy that we said was going to be on the hot seat. As far as I definitely, we have both expressed that we're not huge fans of the one and done decision of getting rid of a head coach, after their first year, or even during the actual season of their first year getting fired. But this one just made sense for Denver to pull the trigger, at least in my opinion. Senior assistant Jerry Roseberg will serve as the interim coach for the remaining 2 games. Denver also fired their special teams coordinator and their offensive line coach. Probably a good thing. Their offensive line has been trash. Before Denver, Hackett was the offensive coordinator in Green Bay from 2019 to 2021. Again, another example of a coordinator getting a shot at the head coaching position, and it just not really working out. So, I think we're going to see him bump back down to a coordinator somewhere, try to get a fresh start somewhere else. But the head coaching position I think it was like a weird hire to begin with. It just felt random from the get.
Right.
And I know that immediately, first game, second game of the season, you felt it already that, okay, it felt like a weird hire and it is a weird hire. And I don't think this is going to work out. And it didn't. And Denver's got to move on. They've got to figure out, obviously, like you said earlier, they paid Russell Wilson a lot of money. That hasn't been panning out at the quarterback position. So Denver's got a lot of work to do this offseason to try to right this ship.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the first one on the chopping block. We might see some more, coming over the next couple of weeks. And, as we get into the playoffs for teams that did not make the playoffs. But yeah, no surprise here, honestly. I think that they were just trying to, do big things for the franchise, bringing in Russell Wilson, naming a new coach, maybe that wasn't in that top 5 spot, like kind of like when the Giants got Joe Judge, no one really had their radar on him. So maybe going after someone like that and trying to make news and try to make the Denver Broncos relevant again, and maybe, you know, get them on the page and like for people to understand them, or, you know, to start talking about them. So I think they made a lot of moves like that. And now we're seeing come December 28th that we're talking about you guys now, but not in a good way.
Yeah, I will say that, like, you know, you don't want to see people get fired, but I also do really enjoy every season kind of learning the fresh new batch of names of like who are the hot head coaching candidates. So we're going to probably hear that. We'll definitely hear the rumblings of it like during the playoffs and around the Pro Bowl and everything like that, because that's when like teams who need to hire somebody, maybe they can't right away or they can't do their interviews yet, and we start to hear like who some of those top candidates are going to be. So I'm going to look forward to tracking that and letting you guys know about that.
We'll know soon enough, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about playoffs. Some spots that were clinched this past weekend, and then of course playoff clinching scenarios for week 17. So playoff spots already clinched. We got a lot of them. AFC, Buffalo has clinched the division. Kansas City the division. Cincinnati has secured a playoff berth. Baltimore with a playoff berth, and the Chargers on Monday Night Football secured a playoff berth. The NFC, Phillies obviously already got their berth. The Minnesota Vikings have clinched the division. San Fran has already clinched the division. Dallas Cowboys have a playoff berth. And then as far as playoff clinching scenarios for week 17, let's look at the AFC. Buffalo will clinch the number 1 seed with a win and a Kansas City loss. Cincinnati will clinch the division with a win and a Baltimore loss. Miami will clinch a playoff berth with a win and a New York Jets loss. And then over on the NFC side, Philly will clinch the division with a win or a Dallas loss. They will also have the opportunity to clinch the number 1 seed with a win or a Dallas loss. I'm sorry, a win or a Dallas loss, San Fran loss, and a Minnesota loss.
couple other L's there.
There's 3 things, but they're looking to close up the division this weekend.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay will clinch their division with a win, just straight up. That NFC South, that terrible division where nobody belongs in the playoffs.
No one should go.
And our New York Football Giants, they will clinch a berth with a win. Just get it done. That's it. Just win.
Just win.
But they can also get it with a combination of Washington, Seattle, Detroit, and Green Bay losses, like all different scenarios there. Just win. Just win.
I hate relying on other teams.
Just win and get in. So those are our playoff clinching scenarios for week 17. I think, you know, we're going to get a real, probably solid look at the playoff picture after this weekend. And not much is going to change from here.
No, but there still is movement.
There's still things up for grabs. So
yeah, absolutely. Whew. Well, speaking of our New York Giants, let's get into our week 16 thoughts. We're starting on Christmas Eve. What a bad way to start Christmas. So Katie and I did not get our Christmas gift that we had wished for. So close. Minnesota ended up beating our New York Giants 27-24 on a 61-yard game-winning field goal made by kicker Greg Joseph. He is the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Good for him. He deserved it. Killed my hopes and dreams for the Christmas season. But what a game, though. I got to give props to both teams. It actually was a game.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Like, this is one of those games that, yes, it's a loss. It goes in the loss column. I think playing this game in week 16, playing against a team that is going to be in the playoffs, that is one of the stronger teams in the NFC, and to play a really competitive football game against them, if we do make the playoffs, it gives you hope that, you know, you can hang with these other playoff teams that you might potentially see. So
it hurt in the moment, but like you had said, you know, over the last couple of days, kind of sitting down and thinking about it, there is some high spots for sure. All right, Cincinnati forced a late red zone turnover to beat New England 28-18. So another close game in the AFC right there with Cincinnati and New England. An interception by quarterback Gardner Minshew. Obviously, he was in over Jalen Hurts. Set up a go-ahead late field goal for kicker Brett Maher to lead Dallas to a 40-34 win over Philadelphia. Listen, I thought Philadelphia was going to take that game for sure, and maybe not embarrass Dallas, but give it more. But it's
Dallas.
You've been good with those NFC East picks, but yeah. So, but it still really doesn't matter. So they're both in it.
Yeah.
So there's that. Good for them.
Yeah, you know what?
Nice.
It just made all sense in the world too for Philly to allow Jalen Hurts to get some rest and to heal up for obviously where they'll be coming up in the playoffs.
But I was happy because then Philly fans and Giants fans were not happy on Christmas Eve. So whatever. So a little upset that Dallas got to be happy, but whatever. They get to win one time. So Miami's quarterback Tua Tagovailoa Green Bay had intercepted him 3 times in the fourth quarter, which led them to a 26-20 win. Miami's on this weird losing streak right now.
4-game losing streak.
And Tua is out with a concussion again. So listen, this is just me talking about my boy. Wrong way turning. I think he should be done for this season. If they make the playoffs or not, he's got to sit out. It's scary at this point. So that's my little side note there. Tua, if you are listening, anyone, please just take the season off. It's not, I don't think the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl.
Very capable backup, obviously, with Teddy Bridgewater.
Absolutely. I just please sit out for the rest of the season. So obviously big stunner there with Green Bay beating them. Baker Mayfield, his second start for the Los Angeles Rams, led them to a 51-14 win over Denver.
I said in the beginning of the show, this weekend, this game, it secured it for me. Also, just look at they lost 51-14 to Baker Mayfield and the Rams.
And the Rams.
It's not like they played Philly and got beat 51-14.
Right, the Rams.
It was Baker Mayfield, who's only been with the team for 5 seconds. Yeah. And it's also Baker Mayfield.
The Rams aren't good.
It's honestly that to me was no, Denver, you're bad. You're real bad.
Not good. All right, and then we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They came back from a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter to force overtime, where they beat the Cardinals 19-16. So
such a crucial win for Tampa Bay.
But awful game. So ugly, not pretty, so boring, just awful. So. But hey, listen, we had ourselves a Saturday and a Sunday for Christmas Eve and Christmas. So we did. Those were just some of the highlights there. But, we had a good weekend of games. So,
yeah. But let's look ahead. Let's look into week 17. A lot on the line for a lot of teams here. And we're going to give you our week 17 picks plus 1 lock and 1 upset. Caitlin, why don't you kick us off? Let us who you're taking.
All right, let's get it started with tomorrow night. A very interesting Thursday night matchup, even though just a fantasy alert, Derrick Henry is not playing tomorrow night, everyone. So write that down.
Really, really, really hurts a lot of people going into, championship weekend for fantasy.
Me. Thank you, Derrick Henry.
Oh, shit, my bad. I didn't know.
It's okay. So I'm actually in 2 championships. So I'm going to be a little, but I think I'm going to get absolutely destroyed.
You never know. Not even
the Derrick Henry team, the other team. So.
You never know. We'll ever know.
All right, let's start. Sunday, what?
Any given Sunday.
I'd hope so. Let's make some money here, people. All right, so starting off Thursday, I'm going with Dallas. Moving into our Sunday, New Year's Day. We've got a whole slate for you guys. Atlanta, Detroit, Kansas City, New England, the New York Giants, Philly, Carolina, Cleveland, Jacksonville, San Francisco, Seattle, Minnesota, the Chargers, Baltimore, and wrapping up Monday night with Cincinnati. my lock, and I can't believe I'm giving them a lock, but is the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Houston Texans. They're getting hot right now. So gonna give that to them. And I'm gonna give you guys 2 upsets. They're upsets based off of records right now. So I don't know what Vegas is telling you. I don't know what other things are telling you, but I'm giving you upsets based off records. I'm giving you 2. So I'm giving you Carolina over Tampa Bay, and I'm giving you Cincinnati over Buffalo. Both crucial games for their selective division. So keep an eye out there. Again, strictly based off records right there.
All right.
Well, how'd we do?
4 different. So
okay.
we're pretty similar.
Okay.
In week 17, I am going with Dallas, Atlanta, Detroit, Kansas City, Miami, the New York Giants, win and get in, baby.
Let's do it.
Philly, Tampa Bay, although I did honestly go back and forth on Tampa Bay or Carolina.
Yeah.
So I do like your Carolina pick, but I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I'm going with Cleveland, Jacksonville, San Fran, Seattle, Green Bay, the Chargers, Pittsburgh, and although this is not my upset pick, I too am going with the Cincinnati Bengals. This is just a gut feeling on that one.
Mine was a gut feeling as well.
My lock is going to be Kansas City over Denver. My upset is going to be Pittsburgh over Baltimore.
Okay.
All right. So I am looking forward to week 17. I don't know. You could also call. No, you can't, because technically the Vegas lines, they have Green Bay as the favorite over Minnesota. But
yeah, like I said,
I'm going with Green Bay. You know what? Vegas has been doing that to Minnesota for the last however many weeks.
Yeah.
Even though they've got one of the best records in the NFL, they keep having them as underdogs. So
I think it's because they're play a game like last week against the Giants, where they very much could have lost. They get blown out every other week, but then they also blow out teams every other.
This game is just too crucial for Green Bay. Somehow, some way, Green Bay still has playoff hopes.
I don't know how.
I don't know how either, but they have been playing well these last couple of games, and I think they take that one. So we'll see.
Well, that's why the Miami game was so interesting. Miami's on this losing streak. Green Bay is on this winning streak now. So
Miami, that was another. New England was another hard one. That game's gonna be played in New England. Obviously, Miami is on this losing streak. I didn't think Miami could lose 4 in a row. So I don't think they're going to lose 5 in a row, even without Tua. I do like Teddy Bridgewater. That's just it's just hard for me. There was a point in time where you and I were both on this show deeming Miami one of, if not the scariest teams. We were midway through the season and they looked so freaking scary. So
I thought they were going to take their division, but take the AFC too.
They were stride for stride with Buffalo for the majority of the season.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, there's still time for them, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move over to our big story. We only have one story of the week for Housewives.
It's big.
It is big, and we teased you guys a little bit last week. So when we spoke about this, it was the Real Housewives of New Jersey season 13 trailer drop. So we told you guys this last week. We wanted to give you time to watch it. We watched it again, obviously, because you can't stop. It gives you chills. You can't breathe when you're watching it every single time. Been loving the Bravo accounts, dissecting it too. Just really, really good. So we're going to do that now a little bit. We're going to give you our reaction and kind of dissect it a little bit here. So the trailer has dropped for season 13. Let's just even bring up the fact that we're 13 seasons into New Jersey. Crazy.
No, it feels like it should be longer.
No, I just think you think of 13 years. It's a long time. It's a really long time.
It is. I mean, we did watch Teresa's youngest daughter, Adriana, be born.
I know. That is
the franchise.
So crazy. So crazy.
Wild.
All right. So we have a sneak peek into the whole Teresa, Louis, Melissa, and Joe, drama llama. And it is massive. One of the craziest things we had seen from the preview is Louis and Joe arguing with each other, but getting to a point where physical altercation. they kind of cut it off. It may happen.
Yeah. Honestly, we saw last season was Louis' like first season on the show. And he took, I thought, a very laid back approach to it. He kind of sat in the background, and even when things were about him or about Teresa, like I felt like he didn't ever raise his voice. I felt like he didn't really like jump into the drama, even when he could have, because a lot of it was about
him.
So I felt like he was pretty calm. He's clearly reached his breaking point with what's going on, obviously, with the Gorgas, and feeling like, I guess, Teresa is being attacked and him as well. So I think that was the biggest shock for me in the trailer. Was I was expecting, obviously, to see this Teresa Gorga feud, but I thought it was going to involve like the three of them, and Louis was just going to be quiet in the background. Right. I was not expecting it to be so Louis versus Joe.
Right.
Like we're going to physically like punch each other.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean,
I thought that was my biggest jaw-dropping moment in the trailer.
I think my only thing that I could, maybe tie it to or think of what happened. Yeah, last season, Louis is probably cool, calm, and collective because he's dating Teresa. He becomes engaged to her. Obviously, at that point, her relationship with Joe and Melissa was on the rocks. So maybe he thought he can bring them to get maybe things like that. And now probably if Teresa's telling him, hey, we're married now and it's not going great, he's probably going to be like, well, shit, I got to defend my wife or my suit, no matter what the timeline is of their weddings. We're obviously going to get a glimpse of that on this season. Like, I got to defend my soon-to-be wife now because clearly her brother and sister are doing whatever she says. So that's probably the trigger right there. He goes up into a point because then at the end of the day, it is husband and wife versus husband and wife. Like, that's really what it is.
I think, I'm happy for Teresa that she's married and that Louis is her family and his sons are her family now. And it seems like they've, her daughters with them, they've really blended and they all, very much so love each other. And I think that's really nice. But I also feel like maybe Teresa is okay with, like a little more so okay with moving on from Melissa and Joe, because she is starting this brand new chapter of her life.
Right.
Where she's like, well, like, yeah, you guys were my family, but like, I don't need you now. Almost like I'm creating my own family kind of thing. Like now I've got Louis and I've got his sons and we don't need, like, if this is what it's going to be, like, we don't need you anymore. We're going to go off and do our own.
Yeah.
Thing. Which is sad because like, you don't want to see it, a final stamp on it, but this is kind of where I feel like we're getting with them. I've seen this for years, and then they had a good stretch, but I feel like this really could be it for them. This could be over this relationship.
Yeah, and it's really sad to see for sure.
Yeah.
So another crazy thing that we heard or saw in the trailer is yet again someone bringing up a rumor about Melissa being unfaithful to Joe Gorga. But the interesting thing about this time was that it was a specific person in a specific place, a vehicle, and it was a makeout session. So it's not like a generic rumor. Yeah, she's been, like we've heard in Salt Lake City, she sleeps with half New York. She's sleeping around. I heard she cheated.
That's like one thing, like it's like when Teresa brought up like Evan cheating on Jackie. It was such a general blanket statement. Like, oh, I heard he cheats on her. Like, where are your hard facts? When you specifically say at this place, at this time, in this location with this person, and this is exactly what happened, then it's like, who the hell is just randomly pulling this out of thin air and making this up?
Right. And if they are, then they're the goddamn devil because because like, so that's why it's interesting to look at, because this again is not the first time we're hearing this. I would say the last 3 seasons it's come up. This time it's very like eerily specific, but again, like you and I were talking like about it just after the trailer, and I was just like, listen, if none of this is true, like I feel bad. That's just like an awful thing to, I mean, look at everything Jackie went through with Evan. Like clearly it was not true, and they had to go through all, like that's just like to have that like be put against
Yeah.
you is such an awful
Well,
thing.
but it makes your mind like wonder a little bit because I think you and I
100%.
both agreed that we just don't picture Melissa cheating on him. Like,
No.
I did like they're so still in love with each other, clearly
Right.
very into each other. Like, and so we don't picture it. But then when you get a
Right.
story like that with specifics, it makes you question everything. So it's like, it's a messed up situation.
Yeah. So I guess we'll learn more. It could be a one-off thing. It could get more detailed. So I
I
guess
want
we'll
to know
obviously see.
who, like, I think we know who says it, like, who brings it up. I think it's one of these new girls, but I want to
Yeah.
know, like, who physically is the one saying they saw it with their eyes.
Yeah, because that's like, if it was, if you're seeing that with your eyes, why don't you say something? Like, I don't know. Like, it's weird in
Yeah.
my opinion. It's just weird. All right, so another storyline that this was definitely a tough one to see, but we're seeing, so we do see Dolores' new boyfriend Paul a lot, so we're going to
Yeah.
definitely get that for sure. But the interesting thing that we had, this was definitely surprising to me, how much Frank is having trouble with it. And I guess I had just, we had read, over the last year or so that he really likes him and like they're getting along great because he's got a new girlfriend. They go out together. The kids are. So we're getting actually now this storyline that in the beginning he was having trouble with it. So
I
that,
think that's why it's okay to see it because, like, especially like we went to BravoCon and we went to the panel where Frank and Dolores were there, and they got a lot of questions about Dolores's new boyfriend. Frank, how do you feel about him?
right.
And so we can kind of fast forward through the story of season 13 because we do know it has a happy ending.
Right.
We do know that Frank has a girlfriend now, and we know that the four of them get along. They go out
Right.
together.
Yeah.
So the story has a happy ending, but I'm happy we know that because watching the season 13 trailer, you see Frank really struggling with it, and that breaks your heart.
Oh God. Like heartbreaking.
It
like
really breaks your heart.
He's really struggling with it. And it looks like they have a lot of one-on-one sit downs with each other talking about it. So, but hey, I mean, that also just shows how strong their relationship is too with each other, that they took this time of what we're going to see in this season to talk things out and to really and look at them. Like, again, we're in a spot now where we know it's okay.
Pretty crazy though, because we do see in the trailer, like, I guess Melissa was asking Dolores, like, do you guys talk about marriage? And she said yes, like we talk about it, like, so they're pretty serious already. And we're gonna get, just like how we wanted to form an opinion of Louis, like actually watching his first season on the show. Now we will be able to form an opinion about Paul, and see what he's like and see what he's about. But if he is making her happy, giving her attention and doing things for her, it's certainly a freaking step up from David. So,
oh my God,
I'll be happy for her.
And maybe that's why him and Frank got along so well on screen, because he knew David wasn't going to give her anything. So, that Frank Catania, what a man.
Soul.
All right, and we have two new main cast members. We have Danielle.
Main cast members.
Yeah, Danielle and Rachel. So just a friendly reminder, Jackie will be there, but she has been demoted to friend. So you do see her a little bit. She's not on the main cast photo either, but she did get pictures done that day. So she's not in the main one, but you do see her. Like, she had posted something I saw. So you'll see that on there. So yeah, these new girls, they're definitely interesting. I'm trying to like look them up, but like kind of look back at the trailer. I know one of them goes at Dolores. Big fucking mistake. Don't do that. Like, don't.
One of them rubs Teresa the wrong way. They're down the floor and she gets angry at her. I don't know, Caitlin. I'm getting bad vibes from both of these new women. I just, this was the franchise where we said you basically have, two main casts here because you have the men play such a prevalent role.
You're good.
Why the hell do we need new cast members for New Jersey? You know what? If you were just going to have Jackie be a friend, like, you could have just kept her as a full-time and you could have kept the cast exactly as it is. You know that Evan is still going to be hanging out with the guys. So it's like, we're still going to see them in the scenes. I do not like the addition of these two women. They're very, very Jersey. That's what I got from the trailer.
Well,
They're
the
very
one is
loud. They're
so
very over the top. Both of their
yeah.
voices are annoying.
The blonde is really like I would
So
punch her in
over
the
the
face,
top. Yeah,
probably.
I'm getting a bad feeling just from the trailer that I'm not going to like these women.
Yeah. I
So
think I thought the brunette was a little more subtle. I think she's the one that goes after Dolores, though. So I
well,
think after I saw,
she's the one that gets her and Teresa too. So
yeah, but yeah,
and then Jackie, they showed Jackie getting into it with the blonde.
which
Um,
that's yeah. So
I don't
we'll
know.
see.
I don't know. I don't
Too
think I'm
much.
into it. I don't think I'm into it. So
Well, we've got a little time. We got, I think, February it launches, so we've got about 2 months to fully breathe, fully take it in. I am very much looking forward to it. It's that trailer in itself should be nominated for an Emmy. So
mark my words, I think this might be the biggest ratings monster for any franchise
it's got
in the history of Housewives. I think
you drop a trailer like that.
For with everything going on with Teresa's wedding, which is like
Yep.
the Housewives story of the century. It might as well be like the Queen of Housewives, like it's like royal family type shit.
Yeah.
And then you've obviously got the final massive fallout between Teresa and the Gorgas. So I think we are going to see the biggest season yet across the board. Any franchise, any
I'm
season.
so excited.
It's going to be good. I'm ready. I am
ready.
ready. But let's get into our game for tonight. It is football related. And I like this one because this was news that dropped this past week. And it gives us a chance to kind of cover it and give some opinions ourselves. But the game is called Pondering the Pro Bowl. So after our show last week, the Pro Bowl rosters were officially announced. So like we did last year, we are going to take a look at the selections and answer and determine the following. So for the following Pro Bowl picks, we are going to say if we had to pick one player from each position to join your franchise, who would you choose? Also, we're going to name one player from the AFC and one player from the NFC that wasn't selected for each position as your honorable mention pick. So we did not do all of the positions, but we did do a large majority of them. We've got the quarterbacks, running backs, wide receiver, tight end, defensive end, cornerback, and kickers. So
yes,
let's dive right in. I mean, I think there were some major snubs this year. There's always snubs. You can't include everybody. Curious to say who you're going to add. Curious to hear who you would like on your franchise.
Yeah. Well,
let's get into it.
Since we didn't do all positions, I just want to say that Andrew Thomas was snubbed, and that's all I have to say about that.
Yes, that could have been both of our get it off our chest. Thomas, we love you. We cherish you. It's been a long time since like we could really rely on an offensive lineman for the New York Giants. We love you, baby. You got snubbed.
Yeah, it's snubbed.
All right, let's get into the quarterbacks. I feel like the AFC is like obvious and the NFC is like, we don't usually see these names. So.
It's like they were like wild cards, I feel. Yeah, but I appreciate it.
Well deserved.
Yes.
So the quarterbacks on the AFC side, we have Kansas City's Patrick Mahomes, Buffalo's Josh Allen, and Cincinnati's Joe Burrow. For the NFC, we have Philly's Jalen Hurts, Seattle's Geno Smith, and Minnesota's Kirk Cousins. So, Caitlin, if you could only have one of those quarterbacks join the New York Giants, who would you pick?
I'm going to go with Josh Allen on this one. I'm loving everything we're seeing from Jalen Hurts this season. We've just been seeing it from Josh Allen a little bit more. He's mobile. He can launch it. He can, launch his body through people. He's really a game-winning type quarterback, and he can win you that game at any type, the first through the fourth quarter. So definitely would love Josh Allen on our team.
This is like on any given day, you can ask me and I might just flip flop my decision, but I had to choose between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. And on this day, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. Okay. And I think my slight edge for him is I love his ability to improvise. I think he is the best at keeping a play alive when things just seem absolutely dead, when he's going to the ground somehow, some way, in the weirdest way where nobody else can throw a ball like that. He flick of a wrist and somehow there you go. It's like a touchdown. So he also has a good ability to run the ball as well. I just think Patrick Mahomes, he's dazzling. He's very fun to watch. And
dazzling.
I feel like that's the word. That is the word. He's
All
fun
right.
to watch, and I would certainly, anybody would be lucky to have him as a quarterback. All right, let's talk about our honorable mentions. Who from the AFC would you like to add to this group?
Yeah, so actually the two players I picked for AFC and NFC, despite some injuries, I still think they're putting up some impressive numbers this season. So I'm going to go with Tua Tagovailoa for the AFC in that, kind of if you had to pick a fourth to be there.
All right, I'm going to go with a guy who didn't live up to my preseason MVP prediction, but this man is still top 5 in yards per game, top 5 in completion percentage. I'm going to add Justin Herbert from the Chargers to this list.
Yeah, he was definitely MVP for me too going into the season. I think we're seeing a little bit. I think he's kind of had that came out strong, I thought, in the beginning of the season, had that weird kind of momentum in the middle, seeing a lot more from him now. And listen, the Chargers are in the playoffs, so he's clearly making plays near the end of the season. So
you know what I predict for Justin Herbert's career? I predict that every season he is always going to be top 5 in the major statistical categories. And then I just feel like one year is just going to be the year where he just puts up monster numbers.
Yeah.
And that'll be the, I do believe this guy's going to get an MVP in his career.
It'll come.
All right. Who do we got on the NFC?
Yeah. So again, despite, an injury, in the middle of the season and having to come back, but I'm going to go with Dak Prescott on this for Dallas. There's no way to, get around it. They're scoring points. It's funny, you kind of look at the the NFC East, and you're looking at all of our quarterbacks. You're impressed with, what Daniel Jones has been able to do this season with absolutely nothing around him. But the sad thing is that we're not putting points on the board, so you look at a guy like Dak and you kind of analyze the two of them. That's the biggest difference there. He's getting the ball to the players that he needs to get. And I don't even know what that average score per game is, but it's pretty high. They're scoring points. He's been able to do what he's been able to do coming back from that injury. So I'm going to put Dak into the mix here.
All right. I know, this might sound crazy, but then again, we've got Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith, and Kirk Cousins going to the Pro Bowl here. It's just a weird freaking year. So
it is.
I am going with Detroit's Jared Goff. Okay.
I like Jared Goff in Detroit. So I'm not surprised with your pick here.
We've got 6 total players going to the Pro Bowl, quarterbacks, 6 total. Jared Goff has the 6th best quarterback rating this season. He's just shy of 4,000 passing yards. He's got 26 touchdowns compared to only 7 interceptions. He's not turning the ball over. This has been a really good season for Jared Goff in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I know that last year was kind of are they going to draft a quarterback maybe? Do they really think Jared Goff is the guy? Are they going to stick with him? I feel like he's put together a fine season, and definitely Detroit has been on the up and up trajectory in the second half of the season. So we'll see what happens there, but he's put together a nice season. All right, let's go over to the running backs. In the AFC, we've got Cleveland's Nick Chubb, Las Vegas's Josh Jacobs, and Tennessee's Derrick Henry. In the NFC, thank you, Mr. Saquon. Happy to have a New York Giant represented in the running back group. Dallas, Tony Pollard, and Philly. We got 3 NFC East guys here. Rounding it out, we've got Philly's Miles Sanders. So if you could have any one of these guys for your franchise, I have a feeling we're probably picking the same person, but who do you got?
Going with Derrick Henry on this one.
I'm going with Derrick Henry. I mean, that's just a game changer. Derrick Henry is one of the few players in the NFL, across the board, when you look at the 32 teams, where that's a team where the quarterback isn't the most important position for that team. It's Derrick Henry. That's Derrick Henry's team. So
yeah.
All right. So honorable mention. Who do you got for the AFC?
I'm going to go with Austin Eckler on this one. You mentioned Justin Herbert before. I think they have a phenomenal relationship with one another. So, and I got to see it firsthand because I had both of them on one of my fantasy teams. So I got to study them both week after week this year. So really solid performance. So I definitely got to throw them in the mix here.
Yeah. You look at the picks for the AFC and they're warranted, and that's what makes it so hard to leave Austin Eckler out. He's my pick too, but like there's just some good running backs in the AFC. But he's got over 1,300 total yards of offense, and he is the NFL leader right now in total touchdowns with 16 TDs. So it sucks that people have to get left off like this, and that's definitely a case of like, damn, like they need another spot in there so he can get in. Who do you got for the NFC?
Talk about a standout player out of Seattle. I'm going with Kenneth Walker III here. What a freaking season so far from this kid. And he was your RB2. He wasn't even RB1, but standing out as an RB1 for sure. And going up against names like Miles Sanders, Tony Potter, and Saquon Barkley, he could fit into the mix, I think, Katie. So definitely want to throw him here as my honorable mention.
Well, talking about fitting into the mix, I think one of the biggest snubs, San Fran's Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
973 rush yards, 635 receiving yards, 11 total touchdowns. Not really sure what happened there on that one, because like it's kind of different for me the way like the AFC with Austin Eckler. I'm like, who do you take out? The NFC, I could take out probably two of the three maybe and throw in Christian McCaffrey over them. So I think this was a big snub. All right, wide receiver. In the AFC, we have Miami's Tyreek Hill, Buffalo's Stephon Diggs, Las Vegas's Devontae Adams, and Cincinnati's Jamar Chase. Damn, that's a sexy little
solid
wide receiver lineup.
Right? This whole list is
in the NFC, we've got Minnesota's Justin Jefferson, Philly's AJ Brown, Dallas's CeeDee Lamb. We got too many Philly and Dallas Pro Bowlers. And then rounding it out, we also have Washington's Terry McLaurin.
Well, that just pisses me off because we have no wide receivers,
and
the NFC East is in the Pro Bowl wide receivers. Like,
we got someone like, hello,
screw you guys. I'm mad about that.
Yeah, but this is like, who do you choose? You'd kill to have any of these guys, but who are you going with?
I guess it's just, this it's tough, but he's young and he makes plays, and I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson on this one. All of these people are animals though. Like, I just have to throw that. They are.
This one came down. I narrowed it down to two on this one, and I was between Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson. I'm going to give it to Justin Jefferson.
Tyreek Hill is just, he's phenomenal, but I think I looked at the age factor. I sincerely did. And I know we're looking at this.
I also like, I do like the style of receiver of Justin Jefferson, the big body versus like, yes, Tyreek is a speedster, and he can also like catch a short little dump off pass and take it to the house.
Right.
And that's great. That's always dangerous as hell. But I do like more of a traditional receiver where it's just like you're tall and my quarterback is just going to launch it up to you and you're going to freaking come down with it no matter what. That's Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
All right. Honorable mention. Who do you got for the AFC?
So it was tight. I was going to bring in two other players for two teams here. It was definitely a tight race, but I ended up going with Miami's Jalen Waddle. I was looking at T. Higgins as well. I'll definitely throw that out there. But that 1-2 punch in Miami is terrifying. Jalen Waddle, I think, had one or two more touchdowns than T. Higgins, and I think he's at 1,200 yards for the season so far, a little bit up. So really talented right there. And again, you're behind a Tyreek Hill and you're still putting up numbers. So definitely wanted to throw him into the mix.
Yeah, I took Jalen Waddle too. And that's a good point. Like, hats off to both him and Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. The fact that they were both able to put up the numbers and having to share the ball with one another is just like insanity.
Yeah.
But Jalen Waddle, he is 6th in receiving yards this season. He's got 1,268 touchdowns. I mean, my God, like another name where it's like, those are the stats and you have to leave him off the list. It's just crazy. Who do you got on the NFC?
So I'm going to go over to Detroit with Amon-Ra St. Brown with the Lions. Another very impressive season, in my opinion, at the wide receiver standpoint. And again, we're looking at big, big names here in the NFC. So it's kind of hard to, again, include everyone, like you said. But I really liked what I saw out of this kid this year.
We're very agreeable tonight in this game. I am also going with Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got a little over 1,000 receiving yards right now, 6 touchdowns, 96 receptions. He is the guy for Detroit. He is the bright spot for Detroit and a bright spot for Jared Goff having the season that he's having. So absolutely, definitely needs to be recognized. Tight end, man, not too many of them, right?
This is tough.
Yeah. AFC, and you've got 2 representatives from both conferences. AFC, we've got Kansas City's Travis Kelce and Baltimore's Mark Andrews. And on the NFC side, we have San Fran's George Kittle, Minnesota's TJ Hawkinson. You only get one of them. Who are you taking?
This game is very timely, Katie. We were just talking about this the other day. We were just texting about it. It's Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
You got to rely on someone. He's your reliable tight end here.
It's Travis. Yep. Who do you got as your honorable mention?
And this is where it gets tough because there's like 5 tight ends. So, I mean, honestly, if these answers suck, I apologize to her, but it's just tough. AFC, I'm going to go with David Njoku here. He's doing everything he can for a Cleveland Browns team that really relies on the running game so far this season, but it's still, I wouldn't mind having him on the job. This is it's a tough selection to bring in someone else here. So
yeah, tough selection. You guys know I'm a stats girl. All bias aside, this person is 4th in receiving yards for all tight ends, 723 yards, 4 touchdowns, 68 catches. Lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Jacksonville's Evan Ingram.
I specifically did not put him on my list.
I knew that you wouldn't, but that's why I'm saying all bias aside, I had to just be like, I don't know how else I can argue this one. So
no, I just did not put him on because I don't like him.
And that's all right, let's go to the NFC. Who do you got?
This is actually a little bit easier for me. Again, a fantasy player that I've been able to follow and dissect this whole season. So, and maybe, this can open our horizons for the tight end position. I'm going with Cole Kmet for this one. So I think he had a really good season for, again, what a Chicago Bears team it was not. I'm not sure. So I'm going to go with Cole Kmet here.
All right, so I'm going with Philly's Dallas Goedert. Besides Travis Kelce, this is actually a fun fact. You have to do the math on this to figure it out. But besides Travis Kelce, Goddard is averaging more yards per game than any of the other tight ends that were selected to the Pro Bowl. So he's only played in 10 games this season.
I see, even with the injury, that's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. So in playing just 10 games this season, he's had 611 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. So those stats are really impressive considering that they already, outshine some of these other guys who have played like a full season. So,
yeah.
All right, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Let's look at D ends. In the AFC, we have Cleveland's Myles Garrett, Las Vegas's Max Crosby, and Cincinnati's Trey Hendrickson. In the NFC, we have San Fran's Nick Bosa, Cleveland's Brian Burns, and Dallas's DeMarcus Lawrence. Who do you taking out of these guys?
I'm going to go with Nick Bosa here. What a stellar second half of the season he's having so far. I mean, the first half was perfectly fine, but we're really getting some big numbers here. I think I read actually the other day that, everyone wanted like an early, I'm talking MVP here selection. Someone's early MVP selection was Micah Parsons. And someone was like, you know what? Like, toss him out now. I'm on the Nick Bosa train for MVP. So yeah, I mean, the dream, Katie, is to have a defensive player win MVP. But I think that that shift is very interesting right now. But again, a young player and a standout player. And we already saw him get injured early in his career, but coming back phenomenally. So I love that so much.
Yeah, this is going to be your defensive player of the year. I'm going with Nick Bosa as well for everything that you said. All right, honorable mention in the AFC. Who do you got?
So I'm like, the defensive end position always screws me. So if this doesn't count, let me know. But I went with Khalil Mack. Does he count? Can I pick him for this or no?
Is he a D end or a D tackle?
Well, that's the thing. I think he goes back and forth between.
No,
He
he's a
does.
linebacker. What the frick am I saying?
No,
Yeah.
but I think, yeah. So
You just feel that way because he gets a lot of sacks. That's why it seems like.
I know, but like I think he does. I don't know.
They
No,
get
I think
listed as one position on NFL.com, ESPN, all that.
no, I know. Whatever. I'm gonna pick
All right.
him. They might not count, but I'm picking him.
I went with Mr. Retirement, and not because it's pulling on heartstrings. Arizona's JJ Watt, 9.5 sacks, 33 tackles, 14 tackles for a loss, 6 passes defense, 1 forced fumble. He's having a season.
I'll put him in for honorable mention as well. That I picked it wrong.
Who do you got for NFC?
I love when rookies are thrown into the mix, and we'll see a rookie down the list actually. But I'm going to go with Aiden Hutchinson here. Clearly a top pick for sure. But in the draft, working well in Detroit, so I'm going to go with him.
I am going with back-to-back Philly players, unfortunately, but I'm going with Josh Sweat, 11 sacks, 47 tackles, 15 tackles for a loss, a pick, and a forced fumble. Having a hell of a season. All right, cornerback. We've got in the AFC, the Jets' Sauce Gardner, Denver's Patrick Surtain, Baltimore's Marlon Humphrey, and Miami's Xavier Howard. On the NFC side, we've got Philly's Darius Slay, Dallas's Trayvon Diggs, Seattle's Tariq Woolen, and Green Bay's Jair Alexander. Who are you going with?
Yeah, so this is interesting because on Christmas Day, it was actually a big conversation of corners in the NFL. Who's overrated, who's underrated. And my player was actually, I stand up for this individual. Maybe it's a bias thing with Alabama. I'm going with Trayvon Diggs on this one. The consensus in the room, though, is that he might be a little bit overrated as a player. And I don't know. It struggles, but, a lot of love for Patrick Surtain. I know you and I have spoken about him highly, highly on this show. Another Bama boy, of course. But yeah, I mean, this game, I think I look at the interception value and how quickly a game can change because of that. And if anyone on this list is the master at intercepting and changing and turning a game around, it's Trayvon Diggs. And I just think that I love a good defensive play. I think that makes for an exciting game, of course. So I love the Giants defense. So I'd love to see it get a little bit better with something like that.
All right. Give me the youngin. I love somebody who could come in as a rookie, make an immediate impact, and be a difference maker. Give me Mr. Sauce Gardner.
Yeah.
We'll pluck him from New York, the other side, our little brother. Bring him over. Who do you got as your honorable mention in the AFC?
I want to go with Tyson Campbell on this one. So,
okay.
Yep.
I'm going with Indy's Stephon Gilmore, still a top shutdown corner in the league. Who do you have for the NFC?
It kills me to bring another player on Philadelphia in here, but it also kills me that this player used to play for the New York Giants. James Bradberry has had a hell of a season in Philadelphia, so I'm going to bring him up here. The fact that they have 2 corners between him and Darius Slay that are doing work out there, I'm very jealous if you can't tell. So, in the beginning of the season, we were finding him in the top 5 corners up to week 5, 6. They were ranking him top 5 corners in the league. Fell off a little bit, seeing a little bit more now. But yeah, I think that, against these 4 other players, he's doing a pretty good job.
Pains me that I'm going back to back Philly picks here, but I'm also going with James Bradberry.
It kills me. I liked James Bradberry on the Giants.
Nobody wanted to see him go. Like, that obviously was a disappointment. He's allowed 0.6 yards per coverage snap, having a hell of a season. Such a great pickup for Philly, and just like, can we have him back? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, kickers. This is last but not least. On the AFC, we have Baltimore's Justin Tucker and the NFC Seattle's Jason Myers. Obviously, we both want Justin Tucker.
Obviously.
Who's your honorable mention for the AFC?
Daniel Carlson has had a really good season with the Raiders. So,
yeah, I'm going with Daniel Carlson as well. And who do you have in the NFC?
I was actually surprised that, no, he is an alternate. Never mind. I was going to say, I was surprised he wasn't an alternate. Graham Gano with the New York Giants. He's hitting them, Katie. He's hitting them from far. He's hitting them from short. His percent is absolutely insane. So, and he's saved our asses in a lot of games. So I very much loving Mr. Gano.
I didn't go Philly this time.
Thank God.
But I went Dallas.
No, I know. He's good.
I'm going with Brett Maher.
He's,
and I want to lump him with my honorable mention pick of Daniel Carlson because they're both very similar in the fact that these guys are both 90% on their field goal percentage, and they are tied for kicking the most 50-plus yard field goals this season. They've both made 9 apiece. So, if you've got a guy that can come in and they've both hit 9 from 50 plus, that's very impressive. So.
Yeah.
All right. Good game.
It was good. And and we only did a couple of the positions. There's still a ton more out there. So just Google NFL Pro Bowl. You probably already saw your favorite players who made it. The alternates are out there as well. Obviously, the alternates will not get picked until, if a player cannot play. So check it out. In the Pro Bowl, we've got a new facelift with the Pro Bowl this year. Obviously, Mr. Eli and Mr. Peyton are our coaches. So I'm actually really looking forward to it this year. I think it's going to be an interesting spin, something that we would want to watch. So, all right. What is that time of the episode to get it off your chest? Positive, negative, football, housewives, wine, life, the fact that 2023 is right around the corner. Anything like that, Katie, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
So the Giants are obviously very close to trying to clinch a playoff spot. It's right there. Like, we can taste it. Come on. I feel once a playoff spot is solidified for the Giants, knocking on wood, and my table in front of me is wood. I truly believe at this point, from what I have seen going into week 17 in the NFL season, I think Brian Daboll really and truly needs to be very high up in consideration for coach of the year. So, I'm unbelievably impressed of what he has been able to do with a team that is basically playing with a lot of practice squad players, especially obviously on the offensive side of the ball. So in the past, and this might just sound like a Giants fan whining, but I really do feel like every season for a long time now, like, our injury bug is so bad.
It's so bad. Like, no other team has it worse. It's not a complaint. It's facts.
It's really bad.
It's facts.
And we've seen what it has done to our seasons. Not saying that, if we had full health that we would be whatever.
Right.
But we've seen not being able to overcome it. And seeing, like, even if we were at full health this year and this was our record, we would also be like, wow, this like surpassed all of our expectations. Like, we're potentially going to be in the playoffs. Like, that's insane.
Right.
So if he had done that with a healthy squad, I would have still put him in the conversation. We're doing this with practice squad players on the offense. Brian Daboll has done an insane job when you truly wrap your head around it and look at this season. And also specifically what he's been able to do with Daniel Jones on a year where it's like, this could be it. Like, we don't know what we're doing with this guy. And to be able to use him much better than his other coaches have, and have an offensive scheme that has been so much more successful for him. It's been a pleasure to watch. And I know Giants fans are just so thankful to have him. And I want to see him get the recognition that he deserves for doing what he's done with this roster.
Yeah, I mean, Katie, couldn't agree more. Absolutely love it. And to boost your opinion, I've heard that that's it. It's the blanket statement of he is coach of the year. No matter if we make the playoffs or not, what our run looks like in the playoffs, that what he has done with everything that you just said, this kind of skeleton of a team, he
Yeah.
just it is. Like he is coach of the year. There should not be another contender. So
And if he's not, at least like we both were sitting here saying this, he's coach of the year in our book. So
100%. I
he's
love
good.
it.
Yeah.
Love him. Love everything he's doing. Love how he interacts with the players. You know, our wins this season have been tremendous. They've been on some, gutsy calls.
Comeback wins, truly fourth quarter wins. Almost
Yeah.
the majority of all our wins, like they
Yes.
came in the fourth quarter. So.
Yes, which like I just want to actually like win a game start to finish for once, but I can't. We are where we are, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this weekend looks a little bit different for me. As you can see, I am wearing my brand new, shout out to Katie for getting me this long sleeve. I want the world to see it. It's so cool. One of my new pieces of Alabama gear. Alabama is in the Sugar Bowl this Saturday on New Year's Eve. They are not in the college football playoffs for the first time in a very long time. Since the playoffs have been introduced, I'm pretty sure. So, it'll be a new year for me, a new different type of kind of cheering on the team. And I know that sounds, some people are like, Alabama fan. But listen, it is different. It was an up and down season for sure. I'm very much looking forward to it, though. The season is not over. I get to watch Alabama one more time. I get to watch, Nick Saban coach his team going into another season. I get to see Bryce Young one more time. He is playing. Will Anderson is playing. So I get to see big powerhouse players who have not officially declared for the draft yet. I'm sure they will do it after the Sugar Bowl. I'm sure Nick Saban told them they were not allowed to do it until the Sugar Bowl. So I'm very much excited to see these guys probably one last time, healthy, really go out there. I think they have a really good chance of winning by a lot of points. So it should be an exciting game, but that's also a good thing too for Alabama. If they're winning by a lot of points, I can see a lot of the guys who are going to get some reps next year, some of our potential starters next year. So I'm very much looking forward to that as well. So a little bit different. The game's also at 12:30 in the afternoon on Saturday. So I think it's at noon or 12:30. So it's not a prime time game in this, but I love the fact that it's in the afternoon. We should make prime time the afternoon, but very much looking forward to it. So I get to ring in my New Year's with hopefully an Alabama win. So,
all right. Well, that is something to look forward to this weekend for sure. But what else do we have on slate? We have the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. That is on tonight. It started at 8 p.m. You can catch that on demand. Real Housewives of Potomac on Sunday at 8 as well. NFL Week 17, Thursday Night Football. We've got Dallas at Tennessee. Sunday Night Football is going to be Pittsburgh at Baltimore. And Monday Night Football, this is a great game. I'm looking forward to this one. We've got Buffalo at Cincinnati. College football, Thursday, we've got a slate of, good bowl games here. College football on Thursday, number 12 Washington versus number 20 Texas in the Valero Alamo Bowl. On Friday, we have number 19 South Carolina versus number 21 Notre Dame in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
Love the
and
names.
Then we've got number 6. This is a good one. Number 6 Tennessee versus number 7 Clemson in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Saturday, like Caitlin said, New Year's Eve. We got number 5 Alabama versus number 9 Kansas State in the All-State Sugar Bowl. And then, of course, we've got your 2 college football playoff semifinal games, number 2 Michigan versus number 3 TCU, and number 1 Georgia versus number 4 Ohio State.
What a slate. I think
and then does the national championship game get played that Monday, like 2 days later?
No.
No,
it'll be January 9th, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's very unfair. No, I think it's either January 9th or the 16th. They actually might give them 2 weeks to prep
Okay.
for it. I know they gave them a long time to prep for the first round of the playoffs, but yeah, so it's either the 9th or the 16th. I'll check that one. But yeah, they usually give them a decent amount of time to get ready for it. So,
All right.
but yeah,
Well,
we've got a lot, and that's Thursday to Monday football right there that we just laid out for you. So we've got a long, long slate of football.
yes, but looking forward to seeing you guys in 2023. Hope you all have a very safe, happy, and healthy new year. If you're out drinking, call an Uber. Make sure you be safe about that.
Sleep over. Don't be stupid.
Yes. Enjoy. Thank you guys for hanging out with us as always. We'll see you in the new year.
Cheers to that. We'll see you guys in 2023.